What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Call of Duty's only PSP game, Roads to Victory. So let's get into it now. First thing I want to start off with here is the graphics, and I'd say they look pretty good. I'd give the graphics like maybe a 3 out of 5. They're not bad for a PSP game, but obviously some games were much better, especially if you compare it to, say, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines or the God of War games for PSP. Like, the graphics are decent enough to where it at least looks like a classic Call of Duty. It's, very similar to graphically, games like COD 1 through 3. And I think that's kind of what they were going for with this, because it's another World War II game, and that's just kind of what it feels like. It feels like Call of Duty 2 portable, which is pretty cool. But the only thing I've noticed about it, and I've tried this game on multiple devices, because I'm emulating it, of course, and that's that the frame rate is never consistent. Certain areas it's all the way up to 60, other areas it goes down to like 20. It's like, what's going on with this thing, man? It's a weird frame rate, because every other game that I've played for the PSP, no matter how demanding it is, because I just recently got a new device, I've been playing on a Moto G Power 2025 edition. That phone is fantastic. It's better than that shitty-ass tablet that I used to record this gameplay with. I regret recording it on there because I had certain areas that were so, choppy that I had to cut them out of the gameplay. But on the new device, it's really smooth, but still suffers from frame drops in certain areas. The game is just, I don't know how to explain it, it's just not perfect. But for the most part, it's pretty stable. The frame drops only happen in certain areas, particularly with a lot of explosions and stuff like that. I don't think this game was truly optimized correctly for the PSP. But aside from that, content-wise, it's pretty standard, like run-of-the-mill early Call of Duty. It has a campaign only. There is no side mode, and I don't even think there's a multiplayer, and there was other World War II FPS games on the PSP that actually had multiplayer. That both Medal of Honor Heroes games had standard online multiplayer with team deathmatch and shit like that. So I feel like if they would have at least added some multiplayer to it, it would have been fun, because it's like, okay, you have a game that's just campaign only and really nothing else going for it. So compared to some other titles on the PSP, I would put it much lower than that. Because it is, like I said, just your standard World War II style Call of Duty, no different from the first three. The only difference I would say is in the movement. Like when you're walking around, it feels really slow for whatever reason, and again, that's something I've tested on multiple devices. There's no way to sprint, of course, just like the other early Call of Duties, but in other Call of Duties, like say COD 2, the movement feels faster. And I really can't explain that. It's something that you'll just have to compare on your own. I'm sure a lot of you guys have played the early games too, even though they are rarely mentioned here on YouTube, which is odd. Because Call of Duty 2, at least the original, I'm not talking about the big red one, I mean the real COD 2, was one of the greatest early games of all time. But I feel like there was so much more potential for this, because the PSP, I forget when the last game was released for the PSP. I think it was around maybe 2012 or something like that. So they could have very easily ported games like Call of Duty 4 or World at War to the PSP, especially zombies, like I said about that NZP mode that I showed on here. It works perfectly fine on a PSP. So there was potential for them to put more of these games on there, but they didn't. They just went with this one, and it just kind of is what it is, right? But all in all, I'd say it's a pretty decent game. It's not bad, but it's also not great either. It's kind of just in the middle. If you're going to emulate games on the PSP, is it worth giving it a try? Yeah, absolutely, especially if you've never played it and you enjoy Call of Duty campaigns. It's pretty decent. If you like the early style of COD, you like that classic feel, and you want to be able to just play it on the go, it's definitely worth playing in my opinion. And it's also the fact that you don't have to worry about being connected to the internet. That's one of my biggest gripes with modern games, is the fact that half the time you can't even play the single player mode unless you're connected to internet, which is such bullshit. I like to be able to have games on the go that I can play offline too, and you can obviously do that with this one, or for the most part, really any other older console game that you decide to emulate. But aside from that, I mean, the last thing I can say about it is at least it has like a true World War II feel to it. It's definitely somewhat immersive, whereas I feel like a lot of modern Call of Duties are not like that because they've went for, unrealistic settings and stuff like that. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.